Welcome to the Tea Mind. I'm Erica, and this is your weekly pause to put the kettle on, slow down, and reconnect with what really matters. Hands up if you are a self improvement guru. I am one of them. I absolutely love self help books. Give me a fresh notebook, a new online course, a shiny new planner. I am in my happy place. It's like a warm, bubbly bath of possibility where I feel really safe and at home, motivated and free. Just like anything's possible if I just tweak this one habit or master this one mindset shift or finally stick to that new morning routine. But don't get me wrong, growth is an amazing, beautiful thing, and it's really, really necessary. This desire to learn and to evolve, to become a little bit more us every day is really, really powerful. But I've realised something important about this world of personal development that we don't talk about enough. There is a line, a quite slippery line, where self improvement stops feeling expansive and starts to feel a little bit heavy, a little bit like pressure and a little bit like perfectionism that we were talking about last week, where we're aspiring to be something impossible. So that's what I want to talk about today, because what happens when the very things we turn to for healing, like the journaling, the breath work, the goal setting, become yet another reason to feel like we're falling short. And I've noticed this in myself. I'd have all these beautifully color coded plans. I'd listen to all the podcasts, write out the affirmations, light the candle, do the shadow work, but still I felt a little bit behind. I felt like I hadn't done enough. And that's when I realised that I turned my personal growth project into one with milestones and deadlines and invisible grades that kept me failing. My worth was somehow tied to how together I felt that week. And when it didn't all go to plan, when there wasn't time for meditation, for example, or the journaling didn't quite shift that anxious feeling, I didn't just feel bad, I started judging myself for feeling bad. So I was growing, learning new things all the time, but also quietly punishing myself for not growing quite fast enough. Perhaps that sounds familiar to you. It's quite subtle and it's really easy to miss because it can look a lot like progress because you're doing all the work, you're showing up and you are growing. But I've slowly started to understand that growth without some sort of reflection and without coupling it with action just becomes pressure, and that unchecked becomes punishment. So this year I've made some changes. I joined two accountability groups, one online through the amazing Do lectures, and the other a magical circle of Scottish female founders who meet in person. And we share battle scars, we share wins, and we hold each other gently accountable. Not from a place of let's do more, but more from a place of support to know that we're not doing this alone. And these communities have started to really shift something in me. They've reminded me that growth isn't supposed to be a solo performance, and the action doesn't need to be loud or public or perfect. But sometimes that bravest action is just pausing long enough to notice what's already working. So we've even changed how we run our team meetings this year at Etiquette. Now, before we dive into our monthly review, we pause for tea and we share one thing that's gone really well that month, even if it's really tiny. And that little pause for tea just gently rewires everything and it changes the energy from chasing to appreciating. Because when you stop long enough to just take a little look back and reflect, perhaps you realize just how much you've changed. And it might not be in huge, flashy ways, but in more subtly powerful ones. So, this is the pause that I want to invite you into this week. But before we get to the tea routine, just take a little moment to imagine yourself as a sculpture. And rather than trying to create and build something new, you're just gently, slowly uncovering what's always been there from the very start. So, we're not meditating because we enjoy the silence. We're meditating more to fix that part of us that still overthinks. And we're not journaling because we love writing. We're journaling because we're trying to clear out the messy bits. But what if we let go of that idea that we need fixing? What if we just made tea and just noticed who we are already? Because I bet that you're not actually stuck. Perhaps you're just not pausing long enough to see the shift. And the progress that you've been waiting for or feeling frustrated about, perhaps it's already there. Perhaps quietly, more subtly, in a way that's really easy to overlook. but they are all the same. So this week, I invite you to take a little pause for tea, and while your water's heating, just take a little breath. A lovely deep breath from your belly in through your nose and out again. And just letting your shoulders drop. And just letting the doing part of your brain go quiet, just for a moment. So begin by choosing a tea, not overthinking it, just choosing one that calls to you. Maybe it's a herbal infusion, a nice peppermint or lemon and ginger, or your favorite black tea or white tea, whatever it is this week. And as it steeps, just watch. Watch as the leaves start to unfurl and the water slowly changes colour, feeling the heat, seeing the steam rising and smelling the aroma. And then holding your mug gently in both hands, just letting it warm your skin. And when you're ready, just ask yourself gently, what's one small thing I did this week that moved me forward? What's one small thing I did this week that moved me forward? And anything counts. Maybe you sent the email that you were scared of sending. Maybe you spoke up. Maybe you got out of bed when it was hard to. Maybe you rested, and that was the win. And now ask yourself, what's one thing I can stop perfecting and just start doing? One thing that you can stop perfecting and just start doing. And you might already know the answer. You might not. And that's okay. Just sit with the question as you sip your tea slowly. And this is progress. You're already growing, already shifting. And you don't need to earn your worth with another to do. Sometimes the bravest thing is to not optimize. And sometimes the most radical act is simply to rest. That's it for today. I hope something landed, I hope something lifted, and if it did, share it with someone who needs a pause too. If you enjoyed this, you'll love the Tea Mind Substack, where the kettle's always on and we can connect more deeply. Until next time, stay present, sip slowly, and thanks for listening.